Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'll just give everyone a second to connect to their audio, and then we're going to get started. So, welcome, and thank you so much for coming along to join us today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chelsea McGill. I'm a consultant and team leader. I live in Bunyip, which is in South, heading towards Gippsland, and I have an amazing team of consultants that span all across Victoria, actually, which is really cool. Tonight, I have Elise and Jess with me. Introduce themselves in a little bit when they come on to start cooking. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight we are doing a fake away cooking class. This is one of our favorite things to show you just how easy it is to make some incredible fake away at a fraction of the cost. Always a much healthier version, and it absolutely tastes better. If any of you know where Bunyip is, you might be from around here as well, or you might live in a different area that's a little bit like where I live, but I have minimal takeaway options around my area. So I love that with my Thermomix, I can make amazing takeaways, saving me money and not having to trek 20 minutes, half an hour down the road to get something yummy to eat. So again, we are doing our fake away cooking class tonight, which is one of our favorites. And I'd love if you could pop in the chat and just give me a little bit of a hello and let us know where you're zooming in from tonight. I'll get the girls to pop a hello in the chat box for me so you can find me. And if you can let us know where you're from, and if you currently have a Thermomix, which model do you own? Pop it in the chat and let us know. We are going to be working with our TM7s tonight. I do have my TM7 as well. We are going to do a little bit of cooking in our TM6, some in our TM7, and we will talk you through any differences with models and things that you can make, you can't make, etc. Now, we love when you interact with us, so please ask as many questions as you like, but we do just ask that you please stay on mute. When you come off mute, it creates a lot of background noise and just is a little bit distracting for everyone else. So I'd love if you could just stay on mute, but absolutely chat away to us, ask us all the questions, anything that you need using that chat box. So again, I am Chelsea McGill. I have been with Thermomix for about 6.5 years now, which is wild. I've recently done a full circle. I joined when the TM6 was announced. I did own a TM31. I had upgraded to a TM5, and then my consultant said there's a TM6 coming, and I thought if I buy another Thermomix, my husband might just divorce me. So she convinced me to jump on board and earn one, which I did 6.5 years ago. This is my ninth Thermomix that I have earned in 6.5 years, which is just crazy. I had never planned on staying. I was not looking for a business. I free Thermomix and to get out of here. But very quickly I worked out this is actually a pretty great job. 6.5 years later, here I am, still loving. I'm really excited to be here showing you some of my favorite dishes tonight. So we're going to get started. I'm first up, and then we're going to move to introduce themselves when they come on for cooking. And again, if you have any questions at any time, please box below so we can answer them for you. So I am going to start off with my TM7 tonight. I am making a banh mi. Now, has anyone made a banh mi before, or does anybody buy a banh mi? Is that something that you like to eat? Are you a Vietnamese fan? Pop in the chat and let me know. So on our TM7, the screen looks a little bit different to the TM6 and the TM5. You can actually choose which way you would like your screen to look. So I've got mine set to show my planned recipes. I'm a massive meal planner, and I love being able to see exactly what we're cooking in our house today, tomorrow, etc. I am going to go into show all because I've got quite a few recipes in my meal planner because of our cooking class today. But here's our weekly planner, and when I scroll on, see those dishes. Now, here we have our barbecue chicken banh mi and then our Vietnamese baguette. So we're going to start off making our dough today. Now, if you've had a banh mi before, you'd know they come in those beautiful soft baguette rolls. The first few times I made banh mi, I was making a traditional baguette, and I found they were just way too crispy. I love a baguette, but it wasn't quite the right texture, a bit too dense. So I did some Googling, and I found some Vietnamese baguette recipes and was able to convert it to a Thermomix recipe, which I've now added into my created recipes on Cookie Do. Tomorrow I will send an email with the links to the recipes, including the created recipes that you can add into your Cookie Do. So when we drag our finger down the screen, we are using Cookie Do 3.0, which gives us the ability to add our recipe in. It does look quite similar. On the TM6, created recipes are a little bit more pared back to what they are in the standard Cookie Do. On the TM7, there's not so much of a difference, but you can still see all your prep time, total time, portions, etc. So we're going to hit our start button, and this is letting you know that this recipe was created by me, Chelsea McGill. And first up, we are going to pop 250 grams of water. So we've got our scales over here in our digital twin, and we're going with 250 grams. I will read those comments in a moment, but I will move through. 250 grams. We're going with 7 grams of dried yeast, which is about 2 teaspoons. Top tip, if you are using this dried yeast, it does need to be stored in the fridge. Know that for quite some time. And your yeast performs much better when it is stored in the fridge. So if you are using your dried yeast like this, make sure it's keeping in the fridge. Then we're going in with 8 grams of sugar. I'm using raw. You can use raw white, whatever you've got on hand. I went super over there, but that is fine. Our sugar is just feeding our yeast to give us a better rise. It's not there to actually sweeten it. Popping our lid on and then hitting play 2 minutes on 37 degrees and around to speed 1. So we are I'm just going to check. We've got a bit of background noise happening here. There we go. All right. So what we're doing is we are warming. So we're warming or activating our yeast and our water. Now, by warming our yeast, it means that it is going to rise quicker, softer, fluffier, all the bread when you're working with bread dough. So 2 minutes on 37 degrees is going to get it to its optimal. Is anybody making breads in their Thermomix at the moment? If you are, pop it in the chat and let us know. We'd love to know what kind of breads you're making, what you're enjoying cooking using your dough mode. We've got a couple of pork banh mi lovers. Love it. Awesome. Keep those comments coming and let us know, are you making dough in your Thermomix? If yes, what is your favorite? We make a lot of dough in our Thermomix. You'll hear me talk about my favorite things our Thermomix does, and it will change constantly because I just love everything about my Thermomix. Depending on the day of the week will depend on what my favorite is. But I do really love the dough mode. I make a lot of breads and things like that. Nothing bothers me more than stale kind of bread. I love light, fluffy, homemade bread. I'm a big sourdough fan. I do make sourdough in my Thermomix. We've got some comments coming in. Mel makes a white bread. Veronica's making pizza and tortillas. I love making tortillas. Awesome. You might have noticed on my weekly meal planner, I did have the super soft cinnamon buns for the meal plan on the weekend. They are a treat and something that we absolutely love in our house as well. Shortbread, yum. Pizza, bread, Thermomum's bread. Love it. Awesome. So lots of you being great students and using your Thermomix to make bread, which we love. It's a great way to save money and also removing a lot of those additives and preservatives they put into our breads. Bread should only have a couple of ingredients, but if you ever look at a lot of store-bought bread, you'll see lots and lots of different ones in there. So we've warmed our yeast and we've activated it. 37 degrees is its optimal temperature to give us the best rise possible. You may notice on the TM7, it is smart enough to tear its own scale. So when we're using it, which means when you take it off, as I say that, I kicked the cord. But when you take the lid off, it knows that the lid is off and it won't remove the weight of the lid, which is something that I love. So we're going in with 500 grams of baker's flour. If you're not making bread, that's okay. But after seeing this, I hope that it's something that you start to do. You may not have baker's flour at home. I do recommend buying yourself a bag. I actually buy the Costco 20 kilo bag now, but the Wallabies 5 kilo bag is great value for money. Pop it in the start making bread, you will keep on making it. 5 grams of bread improver, which is Wallabies brand as well. You will just find in your bread aisle, in your flour aisle, at your Woolies, Coles, things like that. That just helps your bread to be really soft and fluffy as well. Going in with 8 grams of salt, which is a key ingredient when we're making bread. And this one, we are going in with an egg as well. All right. And then we actually have 8 minutes of kneading here. So we are going to start our knead. I have made some dough to show you in a moment, but I did knead it in my TM6 earlier, and the sound difference between the TM6 and the TM7 is crazy. If you have a listen to the kneading, It's just so quiet in comparison. It's crazy. So we're just going to move that one to the side. Our TM7 also has that glider foot inbuilt, so we can slide it around the bench a little bit easier. And over to our trusty TM6 now. While that is kneading, we are going to start off with our chicken for our banh mi. So heading back into my weekly planner. And we've got our barbecue chicken banh mi. Now, again, this is a recipe that I created after doing a little bit of Googling. We bought a banh mi at the airport and it cost $17. And I thought to myself, I can make these for $17 or $6. So I did a little bit of Googling and did some converting and created the barbecue chicken recipe for the banh mi, which again, I will email through to everybody. So again, I'm using my Cookie Dough 3.0, so it does look a little bit different on the screen. We're going to go in with some garlic cloves, 2 garlic cloves going in, 2 spring onions cut into pieces. So just very roughly cut into pieces like that. Don't cut them too small. And then the last thing is a lemongrass stalk, or you could just use some lemon zest. I've got a heap of lemons on my tree at the moment. So instead of buying lemongrass, I'm just going to use this. Just use my peeler and peel the skin off, trying to not get any of the white on. So we're going to pop our lid on and we've got 3 seconds on speed 7. All right, now have a look at that now. 3 seconds is normally long enough. But you can have a look at that consistency and decide if you'd like that a little bit finer. Right down those sides. I'm going to repeat that one because I'd like that a little bit finer. I have one very fussy child who, if he sees anything chunky that's green or yellow, he'll be very upset. So just repeating that step again. Does anyone else have any fussy kids or adults in their house? I'm just chopping it down that little bit more. Just perfect. Hitting that next button or that arrow to the side, and we're going to add in our next ingredient, our barbecue chicken. So we've got 20 grams of soy sauce. Can't see my scale. There we go. That's my scales. I was looking on the wrong side. 20 grams of soy sauce. Tearing that one off. 20 grams of fish sauce. Got 20 grams, 25 grams of honey. And 15 grams of oyster sauce. And then get rid of our scales there. And 5 seconds on speed 3. Popping our lid on and just turning around our dial to speed 3. Making sure our TM7 doesn't need itself off the bench. All right, mixing that one up. Hitting that arrow. And then we're going to add in 600 grams of chicken thigh. There is that marinade looking absolutely good. So clicking on that one, and we're going to go 600 grams of chicken thigh, which I have very roughly cut into pieces. There's 3 centimeters. We just want them to be kind of bite-sized. So they're going to shrink a little bit when they're cooking. We're going into the 600. Sorry, I confused myself for a second there. $600 grams. We're going to pop our lid back on, and then we have 30 seconds. We're using our reverse and speed 1. So our reverse button is this one here inside of our blades. Our reverse is using the blunt side of our Thermomix blade. So one side of your Thermomix blades are sharp for chopping, the other side are blunt for stirring, things like that. So we're using the blunt side just to spin the blades around and marinate that chicken for us. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pop that one aside for 15 to 30 minutes to marinate, up to an hour overnight if you're someone who's super prepared and does it the night before. If you're short on time, kind of 10 minutes will be plenty. So we are, don't do that. We have stirred that around nicely, and then we are going to pop it into a bowl. into the fridge. Let it marinate. Right. Now there should be a bit of sauce in there. Scrape it all out. And into the fridge to marinate for a little bit. So while that is marinating, we're going to continue on with our bread rolls. I'm done with my TM6 for now, so I'll pop that. All right. There is our baguette dough. That one has needed for, I stopped that with 2 minutes to go. That's needed for 6 minutes. Recipe does ask for 8. And look how beautiful and soft and stretchy that looks. Now we're going to turn that one out onto our Thermomix mat, onto it, or a lightly oiled bowl if you don't have a Thermomix mat. And we are going to move on to shaping. So we're going to pop that in our Thermomix mat in just a moment. But here is some I prepared earlier for you. So this one has been proving for about an hour, hour and a half. You can see how airy it looks, how light and fluffy it looks. If you don't have one of these, they are a bowl scraper. They're about $3 from the mix shop. Definitely get yourself one. Working with dough is a lot easier when you have one. Your Thermomix mat is a silicone mat that is non-stick, that is going to help to prove your dough. It keeps the warmth in, so you're going to get a better rise on it. And they're really great for rolling, shaping, making pastries, all that kind of stuff. This is a slightly stickier dough, does have that egg in it. So I've just put a tiny little bit of flour and to make life easier. Now, I've done a half batch here because I'm going to have banh mi rolls coming out of my ears tomorrow. So I have just got a half batch. When you are working with this, you're going to be making 6. For this instant, I'm going to be making 3. So I'm going to use my Thermomix dough scraper, bowl scraper, cutting that into 3 roughly equal portions. If you're anything like me, they're never going to be equal, and that is okay. If you don't have a dough scraper, use your spatula. Don't use a knife on your Thermomix mat because you will put a hole in it. Once it has a hole in it, you don't really want to use it anymore because it does have fibers inside. So we've got our 3, or you will have 6 banh mi's. We're going to press it out into a rectangle, something a little bit like this. So we want it about the size of a hot dog roll. I'm going to say maybe like 15 centimeters long-ish. Now, you can use the stickiness of your dough to help you. And then what we're going to do is, so we've flattened it out to about yay by yay. And then we're going to pull from this side into the middle, pushing it down a little bit. And then we're going to repeat grabbing your other side, and we're going to pull it over the middle first side. And we're going to pinch that along that seam to close it. And then we're going to pinch those open ends to give it a bit of a tip. So pinching it closed to create a little bit of a tip, and repeating the process on the other end as well. So we have a bit of a sausage. We've got a seam along the bottom side, and both of our ends are pinched closed. Now we're going to get onto our baguette tray if you've got one. If you don't have a baguette tray, that is fine. You can use a regular baking tray. Make sure you pop just a little bit of flour on it as well. I'm going to show you that one more time. We're just going to press it out around 15-ish centimeters, maybe more, like a hot dog roll. And about, a bit bigger than the width of your hand. And then again, we're going to peel it up and pull into the middle, push it down slightly, and then repeat the process here, creating a seam and pinching our seam as we go along, picking it up and pinching our end as well. And the same with the other side. They don't need to be perfect. They're going to rise and cook really nicely. So here is some I prepared earlier. So these ones have been proving for the last about 30 or 40 minutes, and you can see that they have more than doubled in size. So I know that these ones are ready to jump into the oven and do some baking now. So once you've shaped them in your baguette tray or onto your baking tray, cover them with a tea towel and then pop them aside for 30 to 60 minutes until they double in size, look really beautiful and ready to bake. Then what we're going to do, we are going to pop some boiling water into a bowl, into the bottom of our oven. Now, this is a really important step. This is what is going to help those baguettes cook really fluffy and not burn. So we're going to go boiling water into a bowl, about yay, and we're going to put that in the bottom of our oven. Now, we're going to splash it actually. Trick two. Grab your knife. If you're a bread maker, you'll have one of these. If not, a regular sharp knife will work. Give it a couple of slashes along the top. This is going to make sure that they bake nicely and don't kind of pop out. And then we're going to go into the oven. And we are going to cook them for 12 to 15 minutes. Now, the recipe does say 250 degrees. If your oven doesn't go that hot, that's okay. My oven is quite hot, so I've just got it on 235. So anywhere between that 230 to 250 with your water in it, and we are going to cook those. So while they are baking and my chicken is marinating, we're going to jump over to Jess, who's going to introduce herself, and she's going to tell us what she's making tonight.
Hey everyone, my name's Jess from Mixing It with Jess. I'm located up in Bahn, so just outside of Echuca, originally from down in Gippsland. So tonight we're going to be cooking the chicken korma with cashews and a steamed rice. I have already done a roti bread to go with it as well. Have you done either of these dishes before? Let us know in the comments. All right, so first here we're going to pop in 30 grams of ghee or butter. I have butter, so that's what I've used. We're going to do 2 dried bay leaves. Here's something that's good to know. There's a new national lung cancer. 2 whole cloves. 125 grams of onion cut into wedges. And a piece of fresh ginger. So it is asking for 27 grams. Sorry, 25. I had a little bit less, but that's okay. Because it's good to know. It's now asking for 3 garlic cloves, but we all like a little bit extra garlic. So I've popped in 5. 50 grams of roasted cashews. Now it is asking for chili. I'm not a chili fan, so I am skipping this stage. We've got half a teaspoon of salt. And then we have quarter a teaspoon of ground turmeric. So we'll just guess that on. Okay, so now we're going to pop the lid on with this one, and it's going to saute for 5 minutes on the high heat mode. So that's 160 degrees, which is 40 degrees higher than the TM31 and the TM5. So what have you guys been using your high heat modes for? Pop it in the comments and let us know. It's a great alternative to frying. It is less mess. It keeps the flavour more? What are some things that you are currently cooking in your frying pan that you could use in the high heat mode in the TM7? Taco mince. I actually cooked taco mince in mine earlier for my family to have dinner tonight as well. So while we're doing this one, does anyone make any sauces or any spice blends from scratch in their Thermomix? Pop it in the chat and let us know.
Yes, we had a couple of comments there about the high heat mode. Veronica's doing caramelized onions and stir fries. And Emily's doing capsicums and onions for her fajitas.
Yum.
And then we've got Emily's doing taco spice blend. Rhiannon's doing tandoori paste. So is Mel. Hallie's doing the all-purpose rub to use on her steamed chicken.
Nice. Some good options there.
Great options there.
All right, so we have 3 minutes left on this one.
Did you want to start that rice while
Yeah, I might start the rice now. So it does ask for us to pop the simmering basket in and weigh the rice. I have already done that step with this one. So we'll skip that one. And we've got a litre of water. Some salt. And some oil. I've just got to grab. Okay, so it is asking for 20 grams of oil, but we'll just halve that one. And then pop our rice in. And then this one's going to cook for 20 minutes on 100 degrees, speed 4. Move that one out of the way. All right, so we have 1 minute and 26 seconds left on this one. So how much is it costing your family to eat out, whether that's a family of 4 or however many you have? How much is it costing? For me to buy this dish at our local curry house, it would have cost a family of 4. What did I write down? $129 for us to get 4 servings of the korma, some rice, and some roti bread.
Isn't it just wild, the price of takeaway? Do you remember when fish and chips used to be the cheap option and takeaway, and now they're about what, $80 to feed a family?
So for me to make this one at home, it came in at $16.42, and that was with 20 roti bread.
That is crazy.
It's a massive difference. Actually, if you were to have this meal once a week instead of takeaway, you could buy yourself just under 2 brand new TM7s. That's pretty crazy.
I know what I'd rather spend my money on, Jess.
I reckon. All right, so that one is done. So we're just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. We are going to add 25 grams of tomato paste. and 20 grams of our korma spice blend. So this one you can actually make in your Thermomix as well. You'll get 4 different ingredients and then you'll mill it in there as well. Alrighty, so we are going to cook this one for 2 minutes on 120 degrees, speed 2.
Amazing. Now, Jess, if you only had one Thermomix, what would be the process for your rice and your chicken tonight?
I'd probably put the rice in one and then use your aroma for your layering to put the chicken above it.
That's a great idea. Love that. Yeah, awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Jess. We'll be back in a little bit to check in with you, and we will see Elise, and she can introduce herself and let you know what she's cooking.
Hi, I'm Elise from AsoloMumAndHerThermi. I am going to be cooking a prawn and noodle stir fry. And I came on board to actually earn my TM6 and when they had the sort of running out, and then I also come on to earn my TM7 right at that sweet time. And before that, I had a TM5 that I just didn't use as much. But since coming on as a consultant, I do find that I'm using my Thermomix so much more. But also, too, it can do a lot more than what the five could ever do. So, yeah, it's a bit of a game changer in my home. So we'll get started. I'll just point it down. I am a very tall person, so I'm going to have to switch it up and down because you can't get both in the same shot. All right, so not sure if you know that you can actually use your scales without the bowl on. So it was asking for 250 grams of noodles. So you can just whack a bowl on without your bowl. So if your bowl was being washed, that's close enough. Your bowl was being washed in the dishwasher, then you can always just still use the scales while that's not in action. So it is still handy even without the bowl. Just might burn my fingers there. So that needs to just sort of cook in the hot water for about 4 minutes. I'm also just going to pop my timer on in the background so you can multitask with your Thermomix. You don't just have to do one little thing at a time. So, and then I can just get back into where I was. So I'll pop my bowl back on. So we're going to start with the sauce. So just need, I did actually put, 2 garlic cloves, because more garlic the better, right? And I do like chili. I did de-seed it though, because if I'm going to feed it to my small children, I have a now 1-year-old. She had a birthday the other day, and a 3-year-old, which will be 4 in a month or 2. Now, it has also asked for coriander stalks. I can handle having coriander as a in-sauce thing without the leaves. They had the leaves for garnishing, but they go straight in the bin. So I thought I can still do the stalks. It's in the sauce, so it's not going to worry too much. So all those ingredients are going to be chopped in 3 seconds. I'm not sure if anyone can chop faster. I know I surely can't. But it does take, a lot of that work out to, all that sort of prep work that is quite tedious. You can just sort of cut it to a reasonable size because you don't want to put too much pressure on your blades. But then you can I already did that. But then you can just sort of move on from there. So now I'm just going to add in some oil. I'm a bit of a freelancer sometimes, so don't judge me. You might get a heart attack with some of the things. That's only half a teaspoon of turmeric. There. Oops, not really coming out so. There we go. And cumin. So does anybody get stir fries with their takeaway? Just pop it in the comments. I know that I am partial to a fair bit of Thai food. I do quite enjoy it. I'm not sure if anybody else is the same with their. Don't always tend to get a stir fry. Noodles I do get. Because I always sort of think, oh, I could just make a stir fry at home. But with any of them, really, you can make it at home. And some raw sugar. Sorry, I am not looking at the comments. Hopefully the girls are answering for you. It's really daunting when you can't hear anybody. You feel like you're just in here talking to yourself. And some coconut milk. So yeah, it makes popping things in quickly when it just tears off by itself once you've ticked the button, tick the square. God, I lost my words there. And that's just going to tick off for me, which is even better. It takes that bit of work out of it. So that's just going to heat for 6 minutes on 90 degrees. And then that 4 minutes is up. So I'm just going to strain the noodles, pop the sauce in, and then come back to me later. I think we're going to Chelsea now.
Sorry,
you're right.
All right, excited to see the rest of that prawn stir fry. So my baguettes have just come out of the oven. Now I did make them a little bit smaller than what I would normally make them, but it is looking crunchy on the outside, soft and fluffy on the inside. And what we're going to do is just got a little bit of melted butter. And we're just going to brush some butter over the baguette to give it that really beautiful glossy sheen that those banh mi's have. So just a light buttering. I'm making a hot mess here. You could see how much butter I've just flicked all over my bench. But that's okay because look how good that looks. Amazing. And then pop them on your cooling rack to cool slightly. So our chicken has been marinating away. So we are going to wipe my screen. There's butter all over it, which actually doesn't matter with the TM7. Your screen will still work with dirty, wet hands, dirty, wet screen, which is awesome. So just going to bring up my recipe again. Excuse me for 1 sec. I have the worst hay fever. I've been struggling this week. Anybody else in the same boat as me? That windy, hot day on the weekend got me good. All right, so back into that's our baguette recipe. My picture's the same on both my recipes, so here we go. Barbecue chicken banh mi. Now, we started this one on our TM6. So we are just going to scroll down to where we want to be. And that is this one here, and then set as current step. Mariana, has just asked if I'd recommend a screen protector. Your TM7 does not need a screen protector. I find it so funny that people have started selling those. They spent a lot of time and money in development of this screen, trying to break it. Someone's job was purely to break the TM screen, and really was not possible. So you don't need a screen protector. It's not like a phone. You're not throwing it in your handbag with your keys. You're not dropping it anywhere. So the screen doesn't need to be protected, which is great. So we've gone with our chicken and we've coated that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to return 300 grams of our marinated chicken back into a bowl. So my chicken's been marinating in the fridge. Now I am just going to pop a little bit of extra sesame oil into my bowl, just a splash. And then we're going to go with 300 grams. So we're going to bring up our scales. And I'm going to go 300 grams of our chicken with our sauce. Right, I've got about 317, which is fine. And you want to make sure you get a bit of sauce in there as well. And then we're going to, so our recipe says, return 300 grams of the marinated chicken to the bowl, add a little drizzle of sesame oil and saute. TM7 users, you can access browning mode from the mode screen, set for 10 minutes intense. TM6 users, open cookie dough, search for chicken pieces and start recipe. Skip all ingredients, add 300 grams of chicken, a little bit of sesame oil and saute. Now, if you are using a TM7, you can access browning manually. If you're using a TM6, you can't access that browning or high heat mode manually. You need to search cookie dough for the chicken pieces recipe. So TM7 users, we are going to pop our lid on. There is no splash guard needed with our TM7. It has a different lid that will protect you. And we're going to go into our modes and into our browning. For those of you with a TM6, you're going to search for the chicken pieces recipe. I'm trying to read upside down here. What am I doing? Browning. It's in the first row. I went past it a few times. All right, so we've got 10 minutes, 160 degrees, which is our highest temp for our high heat, and we're going from gentle to intense. So Jess used the high heat mode earlier, and now I am using it here. So we were talking about all those great things you could be doing, so much cleaner. I spent 3 months without a cooktop when we were installing our new kitchen, so I've really gotten used to using my browning mode for everything, which is awesome. So we've got 10 minutes there. You can go and do whatever it is that you want to be doing rather than standing and stirring. This is where you get your time back, as your Thermomix owners already know. Pamela's asked, do the Vietnamese rolls freeze well? I actually don't know. We're a family of 4, and when I make a batch of 6, we eat them all in one go. If you ask me in a few days, I can let you know, because I'm going to have 12 banh mi rolls that we won't eat, so I will freeze 6 of them. I'm going to assume so, though. I've never had a problem freezing Thermomix bread, so I can't see why it would, but I can definitely test it out for you. So we're going to do 10 minutes of browning, and then I'm going to pop those into my thermoserver to stay warm, and then I'm going to do the remaining 300 grams of my chicken in the high heat or the browning mode to cook that perfectly. Then we'll come back in a little bit, and we are going to plate up our beautiful banh mi. And we are going to head back over to Elise and see where she's at.
I've got 13 seconds left on the sauce. So the noodles have just been sitting in the thermoserver. If you don't have one of these, you need one. It keeps your food hot. With the new ones, up to 3 hours, although I'm pretty sure someone said they had theirs sitting there for about 5 hours and it was still at a good temperature. So if you don't have one, you definitely need one. So that is the sauce there. So I'm just going to pour that over the noodles. So does anybody enjoy being creative, or are you always sort of a bit, I guess, jealous of the person at work who always brings in the delicious treats that they've baked and they're quite creative when they cook or with their lunches that they bring? Because I know that I was one of those people. I was always kind of like, oh, who has the time to make all those slices from scratch and stuff? But now with Thermomix, I can have some of that time and actually bring back when I return to work in some actually yummy treats. So we're going to move on now to the prawn and the stir fry part. So 2 garlic cloves, a piece of ginger, and some oil, which is just 2 tablespoons. And we're just going to chop that for 3 seconds on speed 7. Look, sometimes I'm still a bit impatient. It is still faster than the TM6, but I still get a bit impatient. Might actually put that on again because some of my garlic and ginger are still a little bit on the chunky side because there's not much in there. You can flick away from the blades pretty quickly. So all I need to do is just, oops, sorry, I don't know if I put it on my screen, is I can just go back, click these 3 dots, set it as current step, and then just play again. So it's not hard to go backwards or forwards in a step, which does make it nice and easy. Yeah, that's much better that time around. Okay. So next, scrape it down. So then we're just going to cook that for a minute on 120 degrees. Okay. So with the cost of this meal, so this one is set for 4 servings. It came to $7.09. Oops, sugar. Came to $7.09 per serve. In total, it was $28.38 for the whole thing. Now, you can make that a bit cheaper, but I love prawns. So I did sort of splurge and get big jumbo prawns. Obviously, there are frozen ones or smaller ones that probably wouldn't have cost as much, but I really do like prawns. So I splurged on the bigger ones. And then at a local restaurant here, their stir fries are $23.70. But when you add the prawn protein, it's an extra $7.80. So then that takes it to $31.50, and that's just for one meal. So, yeah, do you head out for stir fries often or things like that? I'm losing my words now. So now I'm going to add the vegetables. It's brown onion, capsicum, carrot, and zucchini, which I have just pre-done. So just going to pop all that in. And I lost a carrot. I had small carrots, so I did end up putting 2 carrots instead of 1. If you want to bulk up the meal a bit more, you can also add extra veggies. Okay, so that's just going to cook the veggies now for 2 minutes 30. What else can I talk about? I'm not sure.
That's all right.
Yeah, thanks.
A lot of time. You guys would be amazed how much time, how slow time goes when you are on screen. Elise, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you. We'll come back to I was going to talk about the cost of the baguettes as well. So I'll fill your minute there.
Yeah, fill this hole, yeah.
We were talking about the cost of, oh, my light, I was like, why is it so dark? My light went off. The cost of the takeaway versus making it. Obviously, Elise and Jess have given you their breakdown and how crazy that is. When we look at the Vietnamese baguette, so I said I spent $17 for a banh mi rolled at the airport the other day, which is what got me thinking about the barbecue chicken version. And for 6 portions, making your baguettes from scratch, and doing the barbecue chicken filling with the sauce, you are looking at $14.83 for 6 banh mi. Now, throw in a little bit of money, $1 for carrot, cucumber, etc., to go in there as well, and that might take us to around $17. So one banh mi cost me $17 at the airport. To make 6 from scratch cost me $17. So absolutely wild. If you think about that, the cost of a TM7 is around $25 a week on interest-free finance. So by showing you the amazing takeaway that you can be making in your Thermomix, you would be hundreds of thousands of dollars a year better off, which is wild. So huge money saver there. But we'd love if you could pop in the comments and let us know, what is your favorite takeaway, and what is your favorite fakeaway? Have you tried making your favorite takeaway in your Thermomix, changing it up a little bit? Let us know what you love to get. Mariana, is it better to pre-cut stuff before starting to cook or just do it as you cook? That is personal preference. So for me, I'm a bit of a haphazard cook, as you may have noticed if you watched me cook before. But I'm also a very busy person, so I'm always looking for the shortest amount of time possible. So I find that I don't prep anything before I start. When you're doing your sauteing, like with Elise at the moment, she's had a minute and then 2.5 minutes. In those times, I'd be prepping my next ingredient. So you just scroll your finger up the screen, see what's next, and prep those while you are going. Is going to save you even more time. What else have we got? We fake away pizza most weekends, and I make rolls or fake away burgers. Love that, Kate. Awesome. Huge money saver there. Pamela said, could you substitute pork for chicken in your recipe, Chelsea? You can do a pork belly banh mi, absolutely. There's a pork belly burnt ends recipe, a skinny mixer one that I love to do. Or you could just do some pork belly in the air fryer, something like that as well, which would be beautiful. Elise, I will jump back over to you.
Perfect. Oh yeah, I'm off mute, sorry. So the partial cooking of the vegetables have just finished, so I'm just popping in the prawns. It's asking for $3.50. Let me just point that down.
Now, put your broccoli and all that in the bottom and put your carrots in the top one.
Okay. I don't think that was for me, was it?
Sorry. Didn't
No,
realize my mic.
That's okay. I was like, broccoli? I don't have any broccoli. All right. I'm going to add just a couple of extra. I'll just wash my hands. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just add the ingredients now, and then I am going to jump out and then go into the browning mode. So adding some soy sauce and a bit of white pepper, not white black pepper. And then, so yeah, I'm going to, instead of just cooking it at 120 degrees, we're going to jump out and go into our modes. I'm actually going to have to close the recipe. So you just go back into your cooking center to do that. So I'm going into the browning mode. See if I can get a bit closer there for you. We want to go intense. So that's going to get the most sort of nice deep caramelization on your food. And we're only just going to go for 4 minutes. So I'll just go back there. So as Jess already sort of touched on with your high heat mode, it takes the mess out of all the splashing if you're frying on your stovetop. You don't have to stand there and continually stir it. The blades are spinning on and off, so it will sit there for a bit and start to sort of cook it. Then you'll hear the blades sort of giving it a stir, and then it will go again. So that helps to, like what it would on any frying surface on your oven, sort of do. So it's already getting hot. It's gone red at the back here. And you can potentially hear it start to sizzle. I'm not sure you can hear that at all. But yes, it's already starting to sizzle and it hasn't even been a minute yet. So it does get up to those high heats quite quickly. So yeah, so really anything that you sort of fry on your stovetop, you can definitely do that in the browning mode, which is now its own separate mode on the TM7. It was incorporated in on the TM6 guided cooking. It didn't have its separate, oh crap, I just lost the word. Mode? Yeah, mode. Whereas now with the TM7, it has its separate one. So you can sort of, if you're, as a couple of guys saying, if you just wanting to brown some mince off for the tacos, or if you're wanting to put a bit of caramelization into some onions for anything, you can definitely do that with that browning mode.
Amazing. While that finishes off, we're just going to jump back over to Jess to see how she's going. We'll be back to you in a few minutes. Thank you. Hey, Jess, how you doing?
Alrighty, so while we were off camera, I did add in some yogurt and some cream, and then that blended up all of those ingredients, and then we popped in 800 grams of chicken thighs. So the recipe calls for 400, but as you can see, I'm about to show you, all of that extra chicken is definitely taken up by that sauce. So we are ready to plate up. Has anyone made this dish before? Earlier, I also made the roti bread as well. So we've got homemade roti bread ready there for dinner as well. It smells delicious. If only you guys could smell the food that we could make. I haven't made this one before, and they always say don't cook it for the first time on live, but that's what we do here, so. Alrighty, and there we have the chicken korma and rice with roti bread.
Yes, that looks amazing.
I know. I was skeptical on making this one because I'm not a hot person at all, but I'm actually really looking forward to this one.
Seriously, that looks better than takeaway or restaurant. Look at that roti, the steamed rice. That looks absolutely insane.
Sure does. And don't forget, if you do this at home, it covers the cost of your Thermomix.
Love that. Thank you so much, Jess.
No worries.
Appreciate you, and we will see you afterwards. All right. So back over to me. So we've got our Vietnamese baguette. Look at how light and fluffy that is. Look at those little air bubbles on the inside, but nice and brown and golden on the outside. So with our banh mi, apparently you're meant to have pate in your banh mi. I am not a pate fan, so I leave that out. It's really up to you what you want to do. I've just done some like peeled carrots and cucumbers today, something a little bit different. We could do matchsticks, spice it up a little bit. We want to put some lashings of Thermomix mayonnaise. If you're not making your own mayonnaise, this is your chance to give it a shot. This is our Thermomade mayonnaise. It's got 4 ingredients. It's absolutely insane. You'll never go back to store-bought mayonnaise. So don't be shy. Really lather that one on. Got your carrot and cucumber in there. Your pate if you're doing it. Your coriander if you're a fan. You might have heard, I think it was Jess said no to coriander. I'm a no to coriander. Pop in the comments, let us know, are you yes coriander or you no coriander like me? And here we have some of that barbecue chicken that we cooked. Our other half is cooking. It's got 3 minutes to go. Rhiannon's wanting extra coriander, so we're never inviting Rhiannon over for dinner. We're going to Rhiannon's house. Sarah's a yes. God, there's so many. Oh my goodness, guys. So many of you are yes to coriander. I'm a no. I think it tastes like soap. No. Look at that perfectly cooked chicken. Oh, there we go. Sue's allowed to come over for dinner. She says no. Grab a little bit of your extra sauce as well. You'll find you'll get more sauce in your second half than your first. And then we're going to top with a couple of spring onions. And if you're a chili fan, a couple of chilies. If you're not, leave them off. And there we have our barbecue chicken banh mi. And this one cost me about $2.50 a serve versus $17 in the shop. So 6 for $17 versus buying them at $17 a pop. So an absolute money saver, as Jess said, covering the cost of your Thermomix. Switching your weekly takeaway to homemade is going to save you literally thousands of dollars a year or pay for your Thermomix. So absolute no-brainer there, and it tastes so much better as well. This is our dinner for tomorrow night. One of the perks of being a Thermomix consultant and working virtually like a lot of us do is that our dinner is made for tomorrow night. So this one's probably going to get eaten. I reckon Dean's hovering around. I reckon this one will get eaten tonight, and there'll be plenty of there for us left over for us tomorrow. My other batch of chicken just has a minute to go, and then I'll pop that in the thermoserver to stay warm with the rest of it as you would continue making up your banh mi. But if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments and let us know how that one looks. And we'll head back to Elise so she can plate hers up.
So mine did finish, but not all the prawns were cooked. So I did just pop it back on the intense mode for another 3 minutes. So it's only got about another 20 seconds to go, but it was smelling and looking good. But yeah, those prawns just needed just that little bit longer. Which if I probably stayed in the recipe because it's a cookie do one, they likely would have, and then even if they didn't, you still can just repeat the step. So let's just finish there. Oh yeah, that's looking much better. So that's 2 rounds on the high heat. Intense mode, the intense browning mode. And I'm just going to pour that in with my noodles. Oh gosh, this has made so much considering it's only a serving for 4. The last cooking class we did large meals, and for like larger families, and my meal we bulked out to like 8 or so. We were probably eating that meal for a week and a half, maybe 2. Anyways, we'll probably be eating this one for quite some time as well. But that's okay because it smells absolutely delicious. I'll just move my Thermomix over here. One up, but it is looking good. Those prawns are now all cooked through. Don't judge my plating up. Noodles are always fun, aren't they? Grab some of the veggies, which those veggies are cooked nicely. They're not, oops. Okay. Yeah, they're nice and soft. Oops. Goodness me, maybe I should have plated up off screen and on screen. Looks like a dog's breakfast, but that is it there. And yeah, smells really good. For $7.80 per serve, which that was for 4 serves. I reckon that there is way more than 4 serves there though. So it would likely be less.
Elise, that does not look like a dog's breakfast. That actually looks absolutely delicious.
I know my plating up skills.
Don't worry, mine aren't very good either. People don't come here for our plating up skills. It's fine. But what a great meal that you've just made there. Like that's something that would cost you a fortune in a restaurant. I'm getting some nice takeaway using those fresh prawns. So absolutely delicious. So thank you so much, Elise, for cooking and showing us that one.
You're welcome.
All right. So there is the rest of my barbecue chicken all done for my banh mi. So you can see we're going to make quite a lot out of that. And then you've got that beautiful sauce in there that you can drizzle over as well. So we did actually all use our browning mode, our high heat mode in our Thermomix tonight. When we do cooking classes, we do try to spice up the modes, but being fake away, we've ended up using similar modes for all of them. When you're using the browning mode, it is really normal for the bottom of your bowl to look a little bit like that. So you can see that blackening on the bottom of the bowl. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Really, really normal. No need to panic. It is a stainless steel bowl. It's not Teflon. So when we're using the high heat mode, it's just like using a stainless steel fry pan. That is going to happen. That is where your self-clean mode comes in. So on our TM7 and our TM6, we do have the self-clean mode. When you've got quite a lot of blackening on the bottom of the bowl like that, I always recommend a little bit of bicarb and vinegar. Pop that in. Put in your liter of water and then turn on your browning self-clean mode, and that will get that off. If it comes out with a little bit still, just a really gentle scourer, we'll get that off. Nice and easy and nothing to come with that. It is totally normal. So we have made our roti with our chicken korma and rice. We've made Vietnamese banh mi with baguettes, and we made a prawn and noodle stir fry. So all made in our Thermomixes, all saving you an absolute fortune and tasting so delicious. Life should be filled with good food, and your Thermomix can help you with that. Now, if you have any questions at all, please pop them in the comments and let us know. And please let us know which dish was your favorite or which you're going to be rushing to be making, or maybe you loved all three of them. As I said, I will send out an email tomorrow with the recipe links from tonight for you as well, so you can have those to make. And we love seeing when you make our dishes. So please tag us or send us pictures. Did just want to remind you that we do have an amazing opportunity to earn yourself a TM7 with just 4 sales, which is actually ending next week. So if you've ever thought about joining our team, please reach out to myself, Elise, or Jess. We would love to chat to you more about that, how you can get a TM7 with just 4 sales in a 90-day period, which is incredible. We also have some limited time host rewards. So a huge thank you to anybody who brought their friends along tonight. Please make sure you reach out to us so we can sort that out for you. And if you would like to let us know what kind of class would you like to see next, we love hearing your feedback and we love trying to deliver things that you are interested in. So a huge thank you for coming along, and an even bigger thank you to Elise and Jess for cooking with me tonight. We don't get paid to run these cooking classes. We do it because we want to make sure our customers learn the most about their Thermomix. So a huge thank you to Jess and Elise for giving up their time. Please make sure you are following them both on social media. If you ladies could please both pop your socials into the chat for everybody so they can follow you along and see what you guys are making in your Thermomixes. So a huge thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. We hope that you learned some valuable tips and tricks about your Thermomix and that you have some inspo for some new recipes to be trying. Thank you again, anybody. If you need anything at all, please reach out to us and we'll see you all soon. Bye, everyone.